All right. The name is Delman, aka Four Eyes, the Ugly Professor, doing the new review of the Boldy James and V Don album, Alphabet Highway. This album review is done on behalf of Old Heads Network. All right, man. Boldy James has 20 different albums since 2013. No exaggeration. I'm not even counting EPs and mixtapes. And his first album dropped in 2013, but his second album doesn't drop until 2020. So doing my research, I said, wow, that's a big gap in between your first and your second album. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he was locked up, maybe he was just doing mixtapes in between that time. But his first album, he worked with Alchemist, and his second album in 2020, which is when I first heard about him, an album called The Price of Tea in China. That project was done with the Alchemist as well. Alchemist did all the production. That was my introduction to Boldy James. I was like, oh, this dude is pretty nice. I like this joint. This was pretty solid. And out of those 20, I've only heard 5 of his albums total. So I have a lot of catching up to do, a lot of going back and listening to his other projects from the past. Like I said, I have The Price of China, The Price of Tea in China with Alchemist. I have 2 other albums that he did with Alchemist. One was called Bo Jackson. The other one was called Super Tecmo Bo Jackson. Both of them were very solid albums. And then I heard another one that I heard and have that came out last year was called Across the Track, should I say, with the Conductor Williams, that producer. Conductor, we have a problem. That was a very solid album. And now this new joint. So I've only heard five albums out of his 20 so albums, and I haven't even heard his EPs and mixtapes. So he has a lot of material. And what I like about his discography is that he works with a lot of different producers on these different projects. You know, some of his joints he might work the same producer like 2 or 3 times. You know, he's done that with the Alchemist and I believe someone else. But most of the producers he worked for, I'm not even aware of. I don't have no knowledge of them. I don't know them. So I like how he is willing and able to work with producers that are not that known and put out albums with them. So I appreciate that, being that I'm a producer myself that's not that known, just pretty, just local, so to speak, in this DMV area. So I appreciate that. And I saw an interview that MC Search from the legendary group Third Base. If you don't know about Third Base, Google them. I'm sure their music is on all these different music platforms. Their first album, the Cactus album, is a classic to me. But he was on, MC Search was on Drink Champs along with Pimp Minister P. Nice, his partner from Third Base. And Search was saying on Drink Champs that no one has had a better and longer album run than Boldy James with his last 10 albums. He was saying nobody, past or present, old school or new school, has a longer, better run of albums than Boldy James with his last 10 albums. And I was like, whoa, that's a bold statement. I mean, he was saying not Nas, not Jay-Z. I was like, okay, all right. And I think he worked with him in some capacity on a few of those albums, if not more. So maybe he's a little biased. Maybe he's trying to big him up to bring more attention to him. But I was surprised by that statement. That's a very bold statement. I won't go that far to say that. I won't really go that far to say that. But to be fair, I haven't heard a lot of his projects. Only 5, like I said. So I'm going to have to dig into his discography to see if they are really that damn good. Is the last 10 albums really that damn good? But this album that I'm about to review is pretty good. Pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. Bodie James, he's on some glorious drug dealer talk. But with lyrics. He got lyrics. He know how to rap. And it's more like easy listening street shit, if that make any sense. I know that's like an oxymoron. How can it be easy listening but be on some street shit? But that's what it is, because his flow is so laid back. He has like a slow, lazy flow. But, and when I say lazy flow, I mean that in a good way. It's kind of reminiscent of like Currency, but it has a little more life to it than Currency, but it pretty much in the same vein with that laid back flow. But he keeps your attention. At least he did on this album. And I have to say, I dig this whole album. I had no need to skip. I felt no need to skip. I pushed play when I was at work, my day job. I'm sitting in front of a computer all day. And I hit play and I just let it ride. Didn't even have the urge to skip. Even the songs where the production is just okay, the song is still cool. The song is still easy to listen to. It's just one of them joints that it's good ride music. Like if you going on like a road trip and you need something to get you through the first leg of the trip, because it's only 13 joints and the songs don't be really that long. But this is one of those type of albums you just pop in and just let it ride. I think V-Don did. Now, even though I said it was a few joints where the beats were okay, I think V-Don, for the most part, did a good job with the production. The production, for the most part, is nice. And I would say this is his best album out of the 5 that I've heard. This is the best one by sure, for sure thing. This is the best one. And he's from Detroit. And I gotta give it to Detroit, man. Detroit got some niggas, Joe. They got some nice niggas. They got some nice rappers from Detroit, Joe. They got some Royce 5'9", Eminem, of course. He's legendary, but you got Elzai. I think Elzai's from Detroit. Who else from Detroit? They got some spitters. Slum Village was from Detroit. I think Black Milk is from Detroit. Guilty Simpson, I think, is from Detroit. They got some spitters. So I would give this joint is like between a B+ and an A- for me. I'm gonna say barely hitting the A-, even though I know that sounds like, well, how can you say the whole album is good, but you just barely getting into the A-? Why is it a classic? I'm gonna have to listen to it several times to make that, certification if it's a classic in my mind. I've listened to it several times, but I will have to listen to it several times more to even say that. I don't think it's a classic. Just because I like everything doesn't mean it's an automatic classic to me. And, he really doesn't get outside of the drug dealer street talk shit. I mean, he got a joint about a female that's pretty good, but even that has some street elements to it. So being that he doesn't really go outside that too much, it's hard for me to really say it's a classic, even though I like everything and I think it's a good album. But I give it's barely an A- for me. It's definitely the best album I've heard so far in 2025. I mean, much hasn't really came out, so that's not really saying much. But there you have it. Subscribe, like, and I'm done.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.